But my question is, what does me checking to see if this man has a permit, how does that enrich my life? Not in one way, shape, or form.
It doesn't. And I didn't include asking for no permit. That wasn't an option. I just was giving an alternative reaction, right? So instead of criminalizing the child, maybe you could engage the child. Because just like a year or two ago, me and my daughter were at a park in the neighborhood, and this little girl, two little girls, two sisters, were selling all sorts of snacks. Coming up to every adult individually. Can your daughter have some Cheetos? I'm selling these for $1. Can she have a cookie? Because I have these for 50 cents. And then their parents were sitting there with them, posted up, holding on to all of the goods. But the girls and one of them had like a little order pad, and she was going around taking orders for people. And then she'd go back, get the goods. We come back, get the money. It was a whole thing. And the parents were like, they have been asking us to do this for months because they really want to do it. So we do the whole thing. They create a shopping list. We sit down with them doing budget. It's this really great exercise in entrepreneurship, and also like money and budgeting and what they do with the money, all like responsibility. So wonderful. It never once occurred to me to ask those people, do you have a permit to be selling me these 25-cent bags of Cheetos for 50 cents for your kids?
I'll tell you what I am going to do. The next time one of these Girl Scouts come knocking on my door asking me to buy cookies, y'all got a permit for this?
We're trying to. The idea was to do stereotype replacements, not increase stereotype animus.
Next time one of these Jehovah's Witnesses come knocking on my door talking about, I want to talk to you about, do you have a permit to come to my door and talk to me about salvation? Do you have a permit, a salvation permit? I need to see show me your papers. The second strategy, so there's stereotype replacement. The second strategy is counter stereotypic imaging, right? So that is intentionally considering alternative images to stereotypes, right? So that could be like, oh, those two young black men sitting there minding their own business look dangerous. But wait, I've also seen other black men sitting here who are not dangerous. Maybe not all black people are dangerous, so maybe I shouldn't move to call the police, right? It's basically saying, can you come up in your brain in some way, shape, or form a counter stereotypic image? Because and this goes back to the point you were trying to make earlier, right? Like there's a part of me that knows that not every man on the planet is a racist, right? So if the man on the elevator is standing on the other side of the elevator, he's not anywhere in my proximity, he's not making eye contact with me, and he may even be on his phone or having a phone call or whatever, then I can go through all of those sorts of internal checks in my mind to say the likelihood of this person being a predator is probably low. It doesn't mean I have to necessarily let my guard down because of what you talked about, but it does mean that I can engage some explicit cognitive processes to help me manage the situation in a reasonable way. The third option is individuation. So this is like preventing stereotypes altogether by focusing on individuals versus group ideas, right? So again, let me just see that there's a person here. This little boy is cutting grass for my neighbor. Oh, isn't that sweet? Rather than jumping to the conclusion that this little boy is somehow trying to ruin your lawn. Stay off my lawn, little boy. Stay off my lawn.
Stay off my lawn. So you think about people as people. Like, what a novel concept. The fourth one is perspective taking. So thinking about the experience from the other person's perspective. So moreover, I wonder if I might ever want to have a barbecue in the park, because look, turns out I'm out here in the park because it is a lovely sunny day here in
Oakland. Do you have a permit for that barbecue?
Maybe these other people who happen to be black just want to be out here enjoying the sunshine and weather too. That's an idea, to be able to put yourself in the other person's shoes, right?
Absolutely.
Like maybe what I do in this situation.
Empathy. We spoke about that before, being able to empathize with someone in order to understand them. Absolutely.
And then I'm sorry, I had to sip. I hope that wasn't too loud. And then the last one is really kind of highlighting or piggybacking off of this idea of the in-group versus out-group. And that's increasing opportunities for contact. So again, to be clear, I went to graduate school in Columbia, Missouri, and there were not one, not two, but like multiple incidents with folks that I either were taking classes with, teaching or serving as a therapist for in the counseling center, for whom I was the first Black person they had ever met. I don't live in the outback somewhere where the incident of being able to like interact with an Aboriginal person is like low. No, I'm from modern times, living in broad daylight in a regular apartment complex as a graduate student in the early 2000s. And folks would oftentimes say, I never met a Black person before, and you're my therapist, and I kind of don't know what to do with that. Or I'm in class with you and, ooh, you're so smart. And when I say, wonder why you say that to me, to be saying, well, honestly, I'm from a town of X number of people and we didn't have any Black people in my town. So
can I just stop you for one quick second and make this point? I hear that. And so here's where I have my personal responsibility struggle. I'm from a town of XYZ people, and I've never seen a Black person before. Cool. That says to me you don't know what to expect. But when you say you're so smart,
media has told them what to expect.
Right. And therein lies my problem. Because you go into that embracing an experience that is not your own. When and maybe you're right. Maybe I am anomalous. I look at things. The first time I went to Italy and asked for pizza and received something that is not like what we do here in the United States. Let me be very clear. I wasn't expecting what I got here. I was expecting whatever I received. For me, that curiosity, that thirst for knowledge, that wanting to know and experience is paramount. So I guess in some ways,
that does make you anomalous. Not everybody wants new experiences. Not everybody is curious.
I'm curious as to why they're not.
Exactly. And I'm sure you are. So the fifth one is increasing opportunities for contact with folks that are like others, right? And that goes for anybody of any race. Lord knows, growing up in South Baton Rouge in a kind of de facto segregation, meaning it wasn't legal to segregate, but for sure, when white folks came into the neighborhood, everybody went on high alert because we knew trouble was coming, sort of thing. I wasn't until I was a senior in high school and I got put in a group to do a group project. And I went over to a white classmate's household for the first time at 17. And I remember being uncomfortable and like worried and like asking mama, what you think they gonna cook for dinner? And what should I do? Like, and what if like the white boy is cussing his mama out in front? Because these were all stereotypes I had of white people. And I went into that environment still holding my own stereotypes like, ooh, what's happening here? Do you think they're gonna have seasoning on the food? All of these things that were stereotypes that I had of white people.
You're so wrong for that. You're so wrong for everything you're saying right there.
But all true.
I'm so happy that your 17-year-old self just got it together. Get your 17-year-old self together.
I was nervous, okay? Let me tell you something. I was real nervous. My mom was like, please stop asking me these questions and just let me drop you off at these people's house. Just please.
And she was probably real happy for you to get out that car. Here, take some Mrs. Dash with you just to ease your mind. Don't forget your hot sauce. I put some in your bag.
Just be polite and eat it anyway, is what she told me. And I'll have something at home for you if you're still hungry.
Let me just say this. If you want to talk stereotypes real quick, do you know I was hanging out with some friends after that Beyonce jam dropped. And one of my friends literally asked, well, is it true though? Do Black people walk around with hot sauce?
Yes. You see what I'm saying?
And I'm like,
people don't know.
I no, like, not that, I mean, I suppose some people do, but I guess people walk around with whatever they want. And she's like, so it's not a thing. It's not a thing. I was like, I've never really seen my mother walk around with a bottle of Frank's Red Hot. Like, that never has been the thing. But I guess she could. I didn't know how to see when I'm in that situation and ask those kind of questions, I never really know how to answer them, because my first thing is, this can't possibly be a real question. Like, you can't possibly think that way.
But it is.
But it
really is.
Right.
It's like I have one of my closest friends. And we call each other chosen family. She's white. Her husband's white. She has 2 blonde-haired, blue-eyed white children. They're lovely children. They are some of the most aware, consciously white children I've ever known about racial dynamics, about power dynamics in specific, because their parents raised them to be that way. And there's regular ongoing conversation, but there's also regular ongoing conversation with me. And regular ongoing conversation with another member of our chosen family who is Mexican American, and someone else who's Korean, from South Korea, and who's lived here for most of her adult life. Like, we have these conversations about things openly and regularly. But the reality is that's not how things go. Like, when I tell people some of the racial conversations I have, explicit racial conversations I have with my own daughter about racial dynamics and some of the things that she said in response of her own, or conclusions she's come to on her own, people are shocked. They're like, but she's just 5, but she's just 6. No, we start these conversations now, but that's not how everybody chooses to do things. And what I'm also reinforcing here again is not in any way, again, to make excuses for people, but there is nothing in the way that systemic racial oppression is set up to facilitate white folks having those conversations on their own, in their all white spaces, in their all white environments. That has to come out of their own motivation and their own willingness. And even when that happens, if you don't have regular ongoing interactions with folks that are not from your same racial group, if you don't engage with material that challenges your thinking about things, if you don't consume media at all that provides counter stereotypes to that, then you will continue to kind of remain isolated and in the same bubble that serves to only feed the oppression and only serves to feed stereotypes and uplift privilege. It has to be conscious work that has to be done. That's all I got to say about implicit bias for today, Tomas. I'm done. You've exhausted me.
Burn, Hollywood, burn. No.
Oh, wait. To quote my other friend's grandmother, I'm weakified. Yeah. So we have a lot of work to do. And by we, I mean white people have a lot of work to do on doing stereotype reduction, stereotype replacement. Really check your biases. Like, part of it is slowing down to stop and think. There's no way that those kind of explicit cognitive structures can start to be shaped and changed to be more egalitarian, to be more to be less privileged, to be less agents of oppression, if you don't stop and challenge some of your thinking, check your biases, and figure out another way to respond. And if you can't figure out another way to respond, mind your business.
I do want to say something, if you don't mind.
I'm going to say no.
Okay, thanks. So here's the thing, because I'm going to edit them, and so I'm just taking notes and stuff. Well, yesterday, we recorded John Dirth. I don't know if you know John Dirth by name. He's an American trumpeter. He actually played with Dave Matthews Band, Bruce Hornsby and the Range. So if you don't know him specifically, you'll know his work, and you've definitely heard him. Like, if you have listened to pop music or jazz music, then you know him. He's everywhere, all over, and he's very learned. Well, he's down in Charlottesville, and one of the questions Jack asked him in the podcast was, after everything that happened in Charlottesville, did you feel it affect your playing at all? And he said, and I'm going to paraphrase some of it, except this one thing that struck me, and it just really struck me to the core. He went on to tell Jack that he was one of the people down there while everyone was marching. He was playing his trumpet. He went out in the street and started playing his trumpet. And he had people attacking him, saying, "Why are you playing trumpet? You're trying to drown out the message," and da da da. He's like, "No, I'm trying to spread love. I'm trying to spread love through a music that understands both